That was loud. I need to lower this. We're in background noise. You're green. You're good to go.
Welcome to That Beautiful Life podcast, episode 194. This is Roger Bergström talking all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. I hope you're having a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening even. I don't know where you're listening where you're listening at this podcast right now. I'm sitting here in Sweden, as said, and as always talking with the beautiful Caduce Campbell all the way over the pond when it comes to the UK and Reading. How are you, my friend, today?
I'm good. Much better than last week when we spoke. As you highlighted to me, when we hopped on the call, my voice is a lot more legible. I'm not coughing as much. I'm not saying like I won't cough at all. I probably will at some point or the other. But I'm not coughing as much. So that counts for something, I guess.
Yeah, huge difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to sleep better just by not coughing like that, I guess?
Not necessarily, because my nose has been stuffy. So I've been taking this thing called it's Atrivian. I think that's it. Atrivian.
Yeah, okay. It's just like a nose spray.
Yeah, it's a nasal spray. Yeah. So I've just been before bed I'd puff one in each nostril. It takes like 2 minutes to start taking effect.
Yeah, usually.
And then after that, I just I will potentially go to sleep. So
that's good. Yeah,
it's not as uncomfortable as not being able to fall asleep, because I'm consistently coughing and unable to sort of like even just take a breath sometimes, which is what was happening last week. But now I can actually go to sleep, just have to puff some of that stuff in my nose and then just let it do its thing.
Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah.
How's the rest of your family, by the way, when it comes to cold and flu stuff?
I think the only person who's probably still got a bit of stuff is Ty.
I
don't think Alex has anything, and Zavi, he's the boy's got the immune system of an ox,
Yeah.
So
good for him.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, I think we talked about that before. It's kind of interesting how it funny word to use, but crossplay in the family, if that makes sense, over platforms. Because I think also here now, I mean, we're not. It's quite rare that we get ill and stuff like that. But and also Adam is not living at home apparently. But when he did, and they were smaller, both Isaac and Adam. For me, it depended on. I think I got more often like a cold or flu from one of the boys if it was Isaac that gave it to me for some reason, and the opposite around, or was it the opposite? Like Annalie got it from Adam, that kind of thing. So maybe that's the case here also. That if Alex came home with this from New York and he was there with her at that point of time, maybe the immune system took care of that stuff already over there, in the US. It's interesting. I just wanted to mention that because I've seen that kind of pattern before, and I've heard other people that has families and kids that has been saying a bit the same. So they know that. Oh no, it's that child that are having this flu. I will get the same.
It's definitely. I think in our family, I think it's definitely more often than not Ty gets something and brings it home. And then I get it from him because I spend I spend most of the time with Ty, so
that counts into play as well, of course. As you say,
because him and I spend a lot of spend so much time together. It's highly likely that if he gets something, I'll get something.
Yeah.
If we spent less time together, then that would obviously change the dynamic. But because of the fact that Ty and I spend so much time together, it's almost impossible that if he gets something, I wouldn't get it. And I think I think the thing as well. And by the way, welcome to the podcast, Nalu.
Welcome, Nalu.
Also, everyone else who's watching, because sometimes we have people watching and they're silent. So welcome to everyone else who's watching as well. But yeah, it's the same. Like for example, like when Alex gets sick, and I know usually it takes a while before I get anything that she has. But from time to time she gets sick, and I end up getting what she has. I end up falling ill from something that she has.
Yeah.
And usually I'm the one, like I'll say nah, like it's fine. Like she'll be like, oh, I'm gonna sleep in the office so that way you don't get it. So we don't have more people sick. And I'll be like, nah, it's okay. I'm not gonna fall ill. I'm strong. My immune system is gonna fight it. Blah blah blah. And then maybe excuse me, like a couple of weeks in, I'll be fine for like the first bit of it, and then eventually it'll just take me. Like I'll just get sick.
Yeah.
And so like yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean that's also as you say. I mean, if you have a missus and you sleep. I mean, if apparently sleep close to Annalie and she has something that can definitely, you're lying there for hours breathing, literally close to each other, so it's easier to catch something. But fingers crossed, because some friends around me as well, and I'm getting to that soon. When we're getting into the week here, has also become ill. So it's that period of time, I guess, right now. Especially also since I've looked out through the window here, and yeah, I can start to talk about that. It's been raining quite some here the
same.
last couple of days.
Yeah, same
You've
here.
had to say, okay,
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
shitty weather, to be honest.
Yeah, right. And a bit of a late happy Halloween, by the way. We celebrate that here too a bit. Especially Isaac, youngest son here. He's really into Halloween, and he has prepared as a young adult. He's still that, and he has prepared a cool thing out here in front of our door. He put like a curtain, more almost thin one, thin fabrics. And behind it, he put clothes on his like full-size skeleton that he has, and a mask and boots. And the boots are sticking out. You can see them if you pass our house and look into like onto the door. You see the boots under this curtain, you might say. And then he has light behind it. So in the evening, this shadow gets onto the fabrics and it looks as if someone, like an adult person, is standing there all the time. It looks really cool, and the kids love that yesterday. And as I hinted for you, we had, I think it was a record. We've lived here since 1999, but I can't really remember or recall that we've had so many children coming to the house, like knocking on the door and trick or treat. I mean, it's fun, and we were quite confident that the big bag with candy would last until the last little child knocked on the door, but that didn't happen. So at the end, I had to look through. Oh, do we have something else? Well, we had just a little left. So
did you start like giving them bread or something? Like,
yeah, I thought, should we give them? They don't want fruit. I don't think so. They want the sugar rush. But yeah, so I was handling that just before the stream, because the thing was, Annalie, my wife, had to go away. She was going for a rehearsal with the choir that she's singing in, and Isaac was preparing, as I mentioned to you, for his yearly Halloween walk, where he dresses up, inspired by the Invisible Man, how he was portrayed in early movie. I think it was an early movie, like 30s, 40s, like 1800th century style looking, or with hi-hat on top, and this mask, of course, and like goggles and coat and cape. He looks really cool. He has a lantern that he's using as well. And the children are like, well, who is that? And some recognize him by now. So they are, oh, it's him again. Because he never talks.
Do they call him Mr. Isaac? Like, do they know it's him? And
No. They don't know that. They can't. They just recognize him from former years. The work he's been doing. Yeah.
Okay. So they're like, oh, that's that guy.
Exactly. He's a kind of a Halloween celebrity here in the small place where we live. So that's fun. But as said, it was raining. So I thought that, well, maybe we will see less of people coming out, or parents with their younger kids as well, going, between houses. But no, it actually was quite a few. So when the candy was, there was nothing left, and I was about to stream. I streamed yesterday. We'll get into that later in the gaming section. Then I put a note on the door. Sorry, we don't have any more candy. Good luck.
Is that what did you really do that?
Yes. And then we had to, I turned down the light, like literally almost blacked out the house. So because I was the only one left sitting in my room streaming. Isaac was doing his walkabout, and Andy was at the rehearsal with the choir. So we had to solve it somewhat like that. Otherwise I was gonna sit there most likely, even though, like here at least, most kids are doing this on Halloween. I would say between 5:30 p.m. until like 7 p.m. Maybe 7:30 might be. Yeah. So that's the peak hours, and I start to stream at local time like 7 p.m. So
I'm just letting you know, if I live in Alta, I would basically be, even though I'm not trick or treating, I'd sneak around by your window, knowing that you're streaming.
Exactly.
I'd knock on it and be like, trick or treat!
Oh my god!
Trick or treat throughout the whole stream. Yeah.
So I have to say, okay, then I'm gonna be prepared. I need candy here, so I can, and it's small, like have the window partly open, so I can just throw out candy once in a while when you're standing there screaming. Yeah, that's a funny thought. Yeah,
I won't even eat it. So... I'd just be doing it just to mess with you. I wouldn't even have any of the candy. I'd just be
exactly.
I'd chuck the candy back in the window as you chuck it.
Oh, it's that kind of shy. I see. More for the trick than the actual treat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Got it. Yeah, but that happened yesterday, and before that, as mentioned, it's been a kind of a more or less normal week, I would say. Shitty weather for sure. A bit tired of that, to be honest. Would be nice to have a day now with sun and better weather. But also, we were talking about being ill or sick or stuff like that. On when was that? Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Me. The bass player and the keyboard player were supposed to record again in this studio that we have, but Janne, the keyboard player, he got like ear infection, so he was out of the way. Me and the bass player tried to do some stuff, but it wasn't that successful this time around. We really need at least Janne also for making the song justice, if that makes sense. Okay, so with that said, and right now, just before the stream started, I got a message because we are supposed to rehearse. Why did I say Wednesday? I meant Monday. This Monday. That was when we were supposed to record. This evening, we're supposed to have a rehearsal, and I just see that the singer Sam just wrote that he is.
Did you just get the text message?
Yeah, he has a bad throat. He has to cancel. So I need to know from the guitarist and the bass player if they want to, I don't know if they want to meet up anyways. Because it's some logistics. Usually annually goes a bit like 1 hour, no, not 1 hour, a few minutes at least earlier from her job in order to be here with the car so I can grab it and then go south to the rehearsal studio.
I mean, if you need me to like just fill in, just call me on the phone. Yeah. I'll do the singing on the phone. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah. Satellite link.
Yes, that's it. The perfect way to do it. I'll be there.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. This sounds good. I keep that in mind. I'll present that idea for the band and see how it goes.
I'm sure they will find it quite entertaining. They'll be like, "Yes, this is brilliant."
I believe so as well. Yeah, but with that said, that's it's some band stuff, a bit of illness here and there or sickness, and Halloween, and so a pretty normal week, I would say, in this house at least. And what about you now, in being in the recovery phase?
In the recovery phase, it's been a week. Let's put it that way. It's been a week. You know, when you have one of those weeks and it's got good, it's got bad. It's like a full week, a filling week. This week was kind of a filling week. This past week was pretty filling. Not really going to go into too many details about why, but it was quite filling to see.
Okay.
When it comes,
the guys are back in school, right? Or
the lads are in school. They're fine. They've been going to school. I think Ty stayed home on Monday. That was part of the reason as well, because he was home on Monday, which meant him and I were like I had him for the entirety of Monday, just him and I doing stuff, because when they're home from school and it's both of them home, you know, like I could leave Ty to play with Xavi for portions of the day, and or do, you know, two of them could do stuff alone without me, and I can get, like, if I need a moment for myself, I can get a moment for myself. When it's just Ty alone, then I don't have a moment for myself. I have him from the minute he opens his eyes till the minute he closes his eyes. It's all day. And then even when I try to take a moment for myself, he's like, "Oh, but Daddy, I want to come and sleep with you. I want to stay with you. I want to talk to you. I want to," you know. So he's never like I can't even like, "Hey, mate, I need a minute," you know. And then he comes and he randomly comes in and wants to cuddle you, Daddy. He'll just come in. He'll just come in and his arms are wide open, and I'm like, what do you need, Ty? Cuddle?
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So it's nice, and it's nice when you haven't had one for, like, you know, the whole day. It's not so nice when you've had one every single minute of the day. It's like, okay, that's that's enough.
Third hour. Yeah.
You know, we've had enough. We need to take a break, and we need to miss the cuddles, you know, before we could then say, like, you know, we want cuddles again. But yeah, generally speaking, it's been one of those weeks. It's been rainy as well, like all week, which is another reason why it's been pissing me off. It's been cold. Yeah. It's been raining. We found out we have a gas leak in front of our house. People have been coming over to ours for like the past couple of weeks and telling us, hey, the house, like, I can smell gas, like, in the living room, and we're like, I can't smell anything. But granted, my nose is stuffed, right? And Alex's nose has been stuffed. So we had no idea, right? And then yesterday, I can hear Alex talking to someone downstairs. And I thought it was someone for something else. Turns out it's these gas people who come. They're like, oh, they need to check the house to see if, like, there's a gas leak. They came inside and they, like, did their, you know, their thingamajig. You know, they came around and scanned the area with their machine or whatever. And they're like, no, we don't have any detection of anything inside your house. But in front of our house, between our house and our neighbors next door, there's a gas leak. And thankfully to our neighbors next door, you know, our neighbors are awesome. But thankfully to them that they called in the people and told them that they can smell a gas leak. And so they're now digging up our street right now. They were doing it yesterday. I think they'll be continuing today, and trying to, like, patch that gas leak, because we could have been sitting in the house and an unfortunate thing could have happened. Now, according to my missus, it's like, you know, oh, it'd be so sad. And I was like, it would have made for an interesting story, you know. I found the silver lining. If they didn't find, if we didn't, no one called in, you know, and something unfortunate happened, I would have made for an interesting story, you know. Top tier bando of dreams. House explodes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood for sure.
My missus is superstitious, and somehow it's rubbed off on me to a certain extent. Now I knock on wood every time I say something unfortunate. And it's weird. It's amazing how people rub off on you, like, their habits and their things. Even though I'm not superstitious, and I haven't been for you know, the majority of my life, I now do that all the time. You know?
Look at that. Yeah, getting into the habit of things.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know how to stop it now. Anyway, that being said, I've been soaked in the rain a couple times this week as well, because it's been raining. Last night was no different. Halloween night, I was out and about. I had a few errands to run because of the fact that we won't have gas for the next couple of days while they're digging this thing up. Wow. I had to go and buy a giant sort of like container that I'm going to be using to fill with water, and so that Ty can have showers when he comes in from school, because basically, if we don't have any cold water running in the house, he can't have a shower. Now, I had a cold shower. You know, I'm not afraid of that stuff. So I went in the shower last night. I was like, whoo, you know, you psych yourself up. You know, you're just like, yes, buddy, yes. And then you get in, and you're like, whoo, that feels good. So that was basically me last night. I was like, yeah, I was proper hype. You know, and you know, they say it's good for your immune system. You know, those ice showers. So I had straight from the tap ice shower. I think it was last night. The temperature was probably around 6 degrees or something.
Right.
And I was in there showering myself, washing my hair and everything, like a top tier bando of dreams. It was brilliant. By the way, you should have been there, but not been there, because then you'd be in the shower with me and that'd be weird.
Yeah.
But
we can avoid that.
We can avoid that. But it was brilliant. Having a cold shower. I believe Xavi did the same thing, but I think he did it to impress me. I don't actually think he wanted to have a cold shower. I think because I told him, like, hey, there's a bit of warm water left in the will probably still be in the boiler, so you can use that to have your shower. And I called him up. I think when I got in, I asked him, and he's like, oh, he had a cold shower, and I was like, really? I was like, why? So I think it was to impress me, to be honest, because I told him I was gonna have cold showers. I think Alex is probably gonna have the same thing. I say probably, I don't know. But I bought this container, a giant kind of like bucket sort of thing. And the plan is to fill it up with water and then boil water in the kettle and put it in there so that Ty can have, nice warm water to have his baths with. So I did that yesterday. That is a thing. I only thought about one thing though. I don't have an actual container to use in it, so I think I think I'm gonna have to find something to use in that bucket for him to like scoop the water out and wash himself. But generally speaking, we have no gas for the next 2 days, so we use gas in this house for cooking because our stove stuff. We don't use convection stove, and for using the oven, so we can't bake anything in the oven for the next couple of days. And also we use it for heating the house. So if we do feel like we need to heat the house, which we don't usually do it these days, but it's getting a bit colder now and we may want to at certain points in time, we have no option to do it right now. And same goes for like, as I said, like before, like with the water, so that we cannot boil any water in the house. And that's kind of the situation that we exist in at this particular point in time. So yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I hear you. Yeah, that's yeah.
I was out Halloween night though while I was making those errands last night, and there were a lot of kids out there doing their trick or treating and stuff in the rain, by the way, because it was raining last night. And I had sorry for the pause, but I was just having a sip of water because my throat is dry. I had the weirdest experience. So I ended up on this. I was taking this route to get to where I was going. It was raining. I didn't have good visibility. I was in town and I was heading back over on my side, and I took a route that I wasn't accustomed to taking. Not that it was foreign to me completely, but I wasn't accustomed to taking that route. And there was this kid, right? He was across the street with his mom and friend or sibling or something. I don't know what they were with. I assume it's his mom anyway. I'm making assumptions. He was an older lady person, right?
Yeah.
And let's name him Jamie, right? And I could hear across the street someone shouting, "Sup, G," right? And I was on my bike and I was trying to figure out where I was. I was looking at the map to see where the frack I was. Mm-hmm. And then this guy, this kid who couldn't be any older than, I would like to say, looking at the size of him, probably like 7, right? And then he comes up to me, he runs across the street, and the lady is like, Jamie, come back here. Jamie, come back here, Jamie. And he comes up and he's like, what's up, my G? And I'm like, I look at the kid. He is the most milky of complexions. This kid is this kid is a Caucasian little dude, and he walks up to me and is like, "What's up, my G?" And he puts his fists up to give me a fist bump, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on here? Like, who is this kid?"
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, "This is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me." Like, seriously, like, who does that? And actually, I mixed one thing up. He was originally saying, "Oh, is that an electric bike? Oh, that's really cool." Because I was on my bike. But I was like, there's no way this kid is talking to me. 1, I don't know this kid. 2, it's a kid. Like, most people teach their kids, don't talk to random stranger people. Mm-hmm. And
true.
And also, when I'm out and about, I'm really not trying to like pay attention to people. I think I had a podcast playing in my ears. I was listening to to ESPN FC Gabba and Jules podcast. So I wasn't really like paying attention until like this kid walks up across the street. I'm like, holy shit, he's actually talking to me. You know, like so usually when I'm like on my bike and I have a podcast playing, it's low enough that I could hear someone. So I heard someone talking in like, you know, I heard his voice, but I ignored it because I was like, there's no way that this kid is trying to talk to me. Maybe he saw his friend or something. Nope. My dude came up to me to say, what's up, my G? And raised a fist up to me to give me a fist bump. And I was like, that is so weird. The weirdest thing ever. And, you know, what's even weirder is that I pictured Xavi when he did it, because Xavi does weird stuff like that. So I was just like, oh, God, Lord. Granted, he doesn't do it to strangers, but he'll do that to someone he knows. Because from time to time, I'll be talking to Xavi, or he'll be talking to like his uncle or something. And then he'll just start using like this sort of like, we call it rude man speech, you know, like, you know,
okay.
Like, and we'd be like, Xavi, why are you talking like that? You know, like, why you talk properly, mate? Like, why are you talking like that? You know, like, and I assume he speaks like that with his friends in school for some reason, because, you know, in the UK, what's popular, the music that's popular in the UK is grime music, and, you know, that grime music comes with roadman speech, as we call it. So I'm assuming this little 7-year-old kid or something listens to grime or something, because and for whatever reason, the lady across the street, who I assume to be the mother, she could not, she was calling out to him. He was completely and utterly ignoring her. Like, she could not exist as far as he was concerned. She was like, Jamie, come back here, Jamie. And he continued to walk towards me. And, what's up, my G? I'm like, good Lord, woman, have control over your child's spawn. So yes, it was quite an interesting escapade of sorts.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
indeed.
So yes, I will also, yes, very interesting kid. I'll take the cool out of it, but I'll say interesting.
Okay, let's take that out of it. Okay,
I'll say interesting because I think it's not cool to walk up to strangers. I wouldn't want my kids walking up to strangers.
No, that is true. That is true.
I feel like that's dangerous. What if I was a dangerous person? I'm not, but what if I was, and this kid walks up to me and I just like, I got you, kid, chuck him in the bike and cycle away. So,
yeah, true.
So yeah, but I also want to say, like, during this week I had to go to I went to do some, what's that thing called? You know, when you go to the Facebook Marketplace and you find something you want, and then you get on your bike and you go there. And I ended up getting to this house, really nice house, by the way, you know, a very quiet part of Reading. I kind of wish I lived there, to be honest. And the guy who I was supposed to meet, he was at the gym because I was late. And he said like my dad's there, he'll sort it out. And I get there and the dad is like, oh, come in. I was like, oh, I've got my bike. He's like, oh, don't worry, it's safe, no one's gonna touch it, it's okay. And
Okay.
I get in on the, you know, that front area in the entrance of the house. There's a little thing there to sit, so I'm like checking the stuff out before I leave. And the dad's like, he can hear me coughing, and he's like, would you like anything, a cup of tea or something? And the thing with English people is they offer you tea like 50 times. It's like, would you like a cup of tea? No, thank you. I'm good. Are you sure you don't like? Yeah, I'm fine. He leaves the room. He comes back in. He's like, would you like a cup of tea? Are you sure? I can make you chocolate. I can make you Earl Grey. I'm like, no,
right.
it's fine. Comes back.
Okay.
He's like, I can hear your cough. You sure you don't want a cup of tea? I can make you like mint with some lemons. And you know, it got to a point where I was like, yeah, sure, I'll have a cup of tea, sir. He's like, okay, thank you. And it's more, and for him, it was like he was so relieved. He's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You're doing him a favor, yourself also. Yeah,
I was doing him a favor to accept the tea. He was like,
exactly.
He was just like, oh, thank you. You took the
Otherwise,
tea.
that would have gone. You know, it would just continue forever. It's like a loop thing. You know?
I think he would have
been. Gotta break the loop.
He would have been like, oh my God. He'd have probably been like, God damn it, take the tea, damn it. This is, how am I going to sleep at night? He'd probably be sleeping in bed in the night like, you know, Charlene, you know, there was this guy came over, you know, he came over for something for Timmy, and he wouldn't take a cup of tea, Charlene. How dare he not want to take a cup of tea? And she'd be like, oh, Jeremy, yes, of course. I don't understand these young people these days and not taking cups of teas and stuff. And back in our day, we would have taken the T. Of course, I told you you'd take the T. Damn it. So essentially, that's how I imagine the conversation when I'm not there.
God.
But he wasn't. All jokes aside, he was very nice, really nice guy. We had a nice conversation and all that kind of stuff. Just a really nice dude. You know, I'm not sure what descent he's from, but he had an accent. He had an accent that was for me, the way I put it, it sounds like an Indian accent. He could have been Pakistani as well, because I don't know the difference between an Indian or a Pakistani accent. It sounds the same to me.
It could be hard to. Yeah.
But he's of Asian descent. And he was just wonderful, you know. He had dogs upstairs. He was like, oh, you know, he had to go upstairs, and he'd be like, you know, fritters, go back to the room. You know, you're not allowed downstairs. You know, I'm doing the vacuuming. You know, he's like, and then he'd be like, oh, he's afraid of the vacuum, so I tell him that I'm vacuuming, and he'll stay in there. You know, and you hear the dogs every now and then barking and try to get out of the room and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, essentially he asked me the question. He's like, are you a dog person? Like, do you like dogs? And I honestly said, no, I'm not really a big fan of pets, to be honest. You know, I think animals should be free and wild and in the open space. I didn't say that part, but I was thinking it, you know. So yeah, so generally speaking, this guy, he was wonderful. Offered me tea. And I find when you buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace, like places like that, when someone allows you to sort of like check everything and make sure it's all okay, and so I think that is the best kind of person. I think because some people try to rush you through the process. Some people are like, no, you take your time, make sure it's okay. You know, make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be, and then they will accept payment. And some people are not like that. Some people are like, look, give me my money, take it. And then, you know, so yeah, and there are people like that out there, horrible people. True. But this gentleman was nice, and I have to say thank you to him. I don't know he did tell me his name. I asked him his name, and he did give me his name, but unfortunately I've forgotten it. Okay. Yeah. You know, I gave him my name as well, but 9 times out of 10 he's going to remember my name. Everyone remembers my name. But for whatever reason, I don't remember theirs. But he was wonderful, and thank you to him for being such a wonderful host. Other than that, yeah, that's it. I got soaked in the rain. That was it. I have been soaked in the rain multiple times this week, and that's been, I guess, the gist of it. I'm going to take that as a segue going straight into gaming and just say I have not really been playing much this week. The gameplay on the screen is Tales of Arise, and the reason why I put Tales of Arise in for the gameplay and for the game title for this week is because of the fact that I did turn it on. So I was testing a few games on my Steam account. So if anyone looks on my Steam account, you'll see like there are like 5 or so games that have been loaded up recently on my account. I wasn't playing any of them to any extent. It was just a test to see how they run and everything like that. So of those games would have been The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, Haven, Criminal Girls Invite Only, Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, Tales of Arise, God of War, Yakuza 0, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and eFootball 2024. So these were the games that I loaded up this week, and I said this week like last night. And just to give you an idea of how long I spent in each game, it was like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, and 8 minutes. So I didn't spend any time in any of them. It was just a test. I was running some tests on my PC. And I needed to confirm a few things, so I used Steam for that. And thank you, Steam, for being awesome, and those games for being awesome games as well. I just want to shout out those games as being awesome games, by the way, because they are all really, really good games. So I also want to say, like, check them out. Yeah, I would say, okay, they're all really good games except one. One is kind of like, it's alright. Yeah, like the alright one is eFootball 2024, sorry. I would say eFootball 2024 is alright because you have to really be into football to play that game, and 2, it's a games as a service game, so it's only going to give you a certain amount of mileage until, you know, all the other games though on that list, top tier, really, really top tier, if I do say so myself. So yeah, all of them really, really good. Burst Renewal, really good game. Criminal Girls Invite Only, really good game, but very what's the best way to put it? Some people may not be comfortable with that game. Let's put it that way. It's a game that has had its own share of controversy in the past.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been gaming this week. Nothing really to talk about. Raj, what about you? You've been playing something that I have not seen before. Or have I? Maybe I have, but it's interesting.
Well, yep. Yes, indeed. It is something you have maybe not seen, but heard of, I think. It's an upcoming FPS title that is called The Finals. And I have been mentioning this before. It was this is the second time it shows up as a beta, this time an open beta. I'm not sure if it was an open beta last time I played it or if it was closed. Either way, the first time I played this game, I was a bit hesitant. I was like, what do I think about this game? Do I really like the movement and the gunplay, which is, of course, quite essential in a shooter game to start with? But then now, loading it up again and playing, I have been playing quite some and had a really good time. I'm going to be honest and say, and you know me, I've been playing a lot of FPS games through the years now. I haven't had this fun for quite some time.
Really?
With an upcoming new title. Yes, it's true. And I think the reasons, there's plenty of reasons for that. I think one of the reasons is the fact that this, by the way, developed by a studio called Embark Studios, and it's a Swedish studio, and there's some veterans in this studio that used to work at DICE. And this game it's fun to see that they have been very free in their mind, so to speak, when designing the game. They haven't gone like a safe route. They haven't gone the generic way, you might say, doing something that they know will most likely be A-okay, but maybe, and be, confident with that. This is a game where they are combining certain elements when it comes to movement, the map design, and also the fact that it's not the conventional like 5v5 or 6v6. You're playing like 3 versus 3 or 3 versus 4, and I'm meaning that there are 3 guys in each team and you play versus 3 teams or 4 teams. And this is a bit different. It is a interesting kind of arena shooter, quite arcadish, but definitely caters towards esports. I can see this becoming an esports game. What I like with the game is that it's like fast-paced and as mentioned, arcadish, but has this also competitive element. They've done a good thing so far, and I hope they keep this. Again, I think one of the reasons also why I like it more now compared to the first time it was in beta is the fact also that it performs better now. They've done optimization stuff that makes this game works better, and especially for me now, also not having like a top prestanda PC at the moment, so that has to be said and put into the equation. But what I like also is that there's like 3 basic characters, you might say, or classes. It's light, medium, or heavy. That's quite simple to keep track of. But within these classic, you can build your own play style more or less. When it comes to fitting your style of playing and so forth. Apparently, and as you can guess, the light class is more, has faster movement and can be that more fast-paced running player, sneaking a bit also, because as you play, you unlock gadgets and also specializations, which might give you a grapple hook or give you a cloak so you can be invisible for a certain period of time. And there's so many things in this game that you start to think, especially guy like me that have played many games and also reviewed games, and you often find the problems when it comes to balancing, and especially the more gadgets, the more weapons, the harder it is to balance the game. This game is kind of weird. It's both balanced and very unbalanced, over the top at the same time. I don't know how to put it, but I think it also has to do with the fact when it comes to the actual gunplay that they have. The time to kill in this game is quite high, meaning the time to kill is slow. And that literally means that you're getting into situations where you have to be good at shooting. You have to have good aim. You have to have good movement in combination with that. That's how you win the 1v1s or even 1v2s that you get into sometimes. And I like that because I've played so many shooters the recent year that goes more towards the tactical shooter kind of way, or at least has a very low time to kill. So what happens then is that you get shot like 2-3 bullets, maybe you don't even see the enemy, you get shot from the side and you just die. Here you get shot at and you can return fire. You can, if you're, as said, if you have some kind of game awareness in this kind of style of games, you can do well, and you can stay alive, if that makes sense. Also, the fact that you're only 3 players make you and your team a bit more vulnerable. You have to think carefully how you play, especially if you're the only one. It has to be said, it's a respawn game mode. It's 3 game modes actually. It's quick play. No, sorry, quick cash. It's called. Sorry, quick cash. Because what you do is that you go to vault, you get the money, and then you go to a place and you gotta deposit the money, and it's a timer, and the other team can come and kill you and steal the money. Literally, that's one of the game modes, which can be very, very fun. You run over these like rooftops in order to get to this deposit place and so forth, and so it's a respawn thing. So you spawn in again, but again you lose momentum if the whole team gets wiped out, apparently, so you have to chase down the other team. So with that said, if you're the only one that like lived the situation, so to speak, of a certain like gunfight or something, you might consider to try to revive one of your teammates. When you die, you become a small statuette, like a statue. So you can carry that. It's important to say that you can carry and throw things in this game, and the destruction is like, it's a destructional kind of environment. So you can literally blow holes in walls, roofs, ceilings. The buildings can fall, which is foremost a really cool and fun thing. I was in situations yesterday. I said I was streaming this game, where it was so hectic because it was like 2-3 teams attacking at the same time, and explosions, and the ceiling, the roof was falling. I was jumping, like parkouring on the rests of the roof, you might say, able to like regroup with the other 2, and it was really, really cool. So that can also be not only a cool thing in the game, but also a kind of a tactical thing, making sure that the house is falling down on the enemies, more or less. So I have a feeling that this might, if Embark Studios continue to play their cards right and get a good launch, because they have said that the game will launch in 2023, and as we know, it's not so much left of 2023, so we'll see when that it's going to happen. It's going to be free to play, and I have to mention also that already in the beta here, I'm not so much into customization and cool skins or a quirky looking kind, because that has to be said. It's a bit of a glimpse in the eye here too when you see what they've done with the characters and their like not loadouts, but bundles that you can get in the game and so forth. And I did that. I got a pink like bundled with cat ears or something for my heavy class. I have foremost this time around been playing as the medium and the heavy class, and it's really fun, and of course cool gestures and stuff. So with that said, they have been playing around here in Embark Studios when doing this game, and I really like that. It's so fun to see that, and I think they can pull this one off. And with that said, and also the fact that I said that it caters toward competitive gameplay, I think this game might become a big game. I can see that happening. So
it looks like it could be that, because I've been looking at the gameplay while you've been talking about it. I kind of wish I could show the gameplay while we were talking about.
I should have sent you. I mean, I have a lot of. I have to say, there's a video up on my channel right now.
There is a video
on Forward Splish Splash. If you're interested to check out what I have to say about the finals and my second beta of the game. So it's up there. Some really cool moments, gameplay wise. Of course, also me going a bit havoc, and also the destruction of the buildings, and things are falling and explosions. It's like. Because there's C4 and there's RPGs and there's rocket launch. It's a lot of things going on at the same time in this game. but I'm glad to see that they are able to make this kind of game, or that they're doing this kind of game, and it's I think a lot of people later on here, because it's still kind of there's still a lot of people don't know about this game especially the FPS community. I can see that. So, but we'll see what's going to happen later on now when they are releasing the full game, which, if they are staying with the saying that they said before, that will happen now in 2023. Otherwise, of course, a good choice could also be to release it in the first quarter of 2024, especially also since there are other titles coming out soon. But I do think, for example, a game like this can be on the side work and get good, like a good player base, besides a full-blown AAA title such as Modern Warfare 3, for example, that will be released soon. So it has its own style, its own identity. And what I'm just thinking of is that I hope that Embark Studios will, especially at launch, have the roadmap really up and going and a bit aggressive, I would say, because I think we need also maybe a few more game modes if they play around with that. And so, yeah, once again, I haven't had this fun in a beta, an FPS beta, for quite some time, and I think that it says something definitely for me. Because you know how it is now. I guess it's the same for you. I mean, both you and I have been playing for many, many years when it comes to the genres that we like to play. And usually I can, quite early on, just after a few hours or 1 or 2 hours of playing a game, start to have a kind of a thought and opinion what I feel about it. Of course, sometimes you need to give it more time. Some games has also a steeper kind of learning curve and stuff like that. But here I felt immediately now, and I say this comes from someone that the first video I made about this game was very, nah, I'm not sure about this, and it was for many reasons, but it also shows from point A to point B when it comes to improvements regarding the second beta. I've also been playing games like the alpha, close beta, early access, and then full release that hasn't really been changing or haven't been able to fix stuff in the game, if that makes sense. But this felt much better already now between these two betas. So thumbs up for the finals. This is something, and of course, I have only so far been playing with random players, and it has to be said, the only downside, or one of the few downsides of the game, is the fact that one player might leave, and if you are a team of 3 instead of 5, that makes a huge difference. It can make a difference even so when you're 5. And I am also guilty of that. I did that too when I got into, because you will play with players that has very different backgrounds when it comes to games like this. But I just want to see, I've never been a person that, like, how do you say, recommend to have this kind of punishment kind of system if you leave a game, like ongoing game, especially if it's a social or a casual playlist. I can understand if it's ranked or competitive, definitely, like a timeout. You can't play for another 30 or 60 minutes, something like that. That is quite common in games such as Halo or Counter-Strike or stuff like that. If it's competitive, that makes sense. But I don't know what they're gonna do about this when it comes to Embark Studios. But with that said, that's my gaming and my thoughts about the finals, and I wish them good luck. I hope they will do well with this.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. It does look good. It's like a bit of some of the maps when you're running, gliding, grapple hooking, or whatever setup you use when it comes to your loadout. It looks reminds me a bit about Mirror's Edge, the bright colors and that kind of contrast. And I think that can be related to, once more, the fact that, many of these guys have been working at DICE, so maybe that's not a coincidence. But yeah,
I shall have to keep an eye out for this game. It doesn't have a lot of competition for the end of the year this year. I think I think the biggest games for the end of this year are Call of Duty and that Avatar game, which depending on how good that
Yeah.
Avatar game is, it could
Yeah,
probably be
exactly.
a big game for the year, for the end of the year.
Could be, could be. It's
Um,
massive entertainment. The studio here in south part of Sweden, which is Malmö,
yeah,
that has also made the Division games that
right.
have been working on that Avatar game since 2017.
Hmm.
So it's been ongoing for quite some time. I saw gameplay just the other day
Yes.
by an FPS YouTuber called Jack Frags.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're exactly.
I've
Overall,
been
yeah.
looking I've been looking at it. I'm
Mm.
not that I think it's I haven't seen the last movie yet, the last Avatar movie, which I do intend to watch. But I
Yeah, yeah,
have been
sure.
looking at gameplay of this and thinking, I may be interested in checking this out. Now, granted, it's not the biggest game at the end of the year for me personally speaking. And
No, no,
I
no.
think for a lot of viewers as well, it may not be. I think the biggest game at the end of the year is obviously going to be Bluey, the video game, which is easily the best looking game so far that's coming out at the end of this year. And just shout out for the fact that the game looks and sounds like it should. Um, so it's
I
also
think overall, though, since we're getting closer to, I can't believe it, but closer to ending shop when it comes to closing shop when it comes to 2023,
Mhm.
there's been a good gaming year overall. I think
It has.
better than 2022, and there's quite a few titles that can compete about like game of the year, I believe. Unfortunately, I haven't. We talked about this the last time. I haven't had time to play some of these games because those are games that, a game like this, multiplayer online, I can go in, I can play 15, 20 minutes, 1 hour, and then boom, I'm out.
Hmm.
But if I would play like get really into, let's say, Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, one of the titles that has been,
Hmm.
then no, I don't have the time doing that. Uh,
Well, that, and
at least not now.
again, and that's why I say
Just an
like,
example. Mm.
I think for game of the year, yeah, we do have a lot of competitors for this year. Obviously, I think my game of the year is going to be obscure compared to others. I've just sent you what game I believe is going to be my game of the year for this year. So you can look upon it. But
Cool.
this is this year has been brilliant. And I think a lot of the viewers and listeners can attest to the fact that yes, 2023 has been a brilliant year to be a gamer. The only thing I would say is that we are really saturated when it comes to games coming out,
Yes.
and because of that,
Yes.
it's really hard to pick a game when games come out. It's like you're basically fighting for a lot of games, fighting for your time at the same time throughout the year. There's so many games I've had come out that are great games that I just either haven't gotten the time to get around to playing it or for finishing it or just to just to even look at it because of the fact that
Mm.
there's so many more options coming out at the exact same time, and all that competition, yeah, it does do a lot. So yeah.
It's true. It's true. No, I totally agree with you. That is a problem
It is.
because
It's I think it would be nice to be able to savor games a bit more, like knowing that there's
mm,
nothing coming out. And I think maybe it's the culture. Some because there are some people who they have to have a new game every few weeks. They get the games come out and they finish it in the
yeah.
first day. There are people like that who will jump into a
Mm.
game and finish it. And nothing wrong with the people who do that, but I think the industry caters to that type of player, and the type of player that would play a game and savor the game and like try to experience as much of the content that the developers put in it, because developers spend a lot of time making games. I think.
But isn't that a bit? Maybe I'm sticking out my nose here, and someone's going to hit me on my nose. But isn't it also a bit of sign of times now when it comes to overall like concentration span, being able to like do something, one thing for many hours
That
or over
is
weeks,
that is
or
true. That is true. People have short attention span, myself included. I find like sometimes I pick up a game and I play for a bit and then I want to do something else.
mm,
Whereas back in the day, I would sit there with a game and I would be there for hours. I'd be there for the whole day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think it's because we have so many options now. I think back
yeah.
then we didn't have a lot of options, so we took what we got, and we appreciated what we got more. Now,
Mm,
when you have a lot of options, then you
yeah, yeah.
find yourself doing a lot of not being as what's the best word for it? Patient with what you have. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
and I think it's not just gaming. I think it's in everything in life. Whether it's toys, you buy a kid a toy and they play with it for like a day, and then they're bored of it already. When I was a kid, you got a new action figure, and that action figure was your favorite thing for like a good few months.
Yeah, yeah. He was in your school bag. He was with you almost.
He was everywhere, you know. You took him everywhere with you. You played with it all the time. You took care of it. And it's the same for relationships as well. You know, you find people, back in the day, you know, people were, I guess, a bit more patient with each other. I
Mm.
think nowadays everyone's like, oh, you know, you can just go online and just find someone, you know. So it's like people
Yeah,
are
if there's
less,
some friction or problems, you're like, and move on instead of trying to solve and trying to
yes,
believe that this is something we can work with and make it, and maybe the relationship grows even stronger after that for getting through that kind of period of troubles or whatever.
hmm,
It's true. Yeah, I can
definitely.
see that too. Yeah, I can agree. I have, even though I'm an old cat or dog now, I can see myself being a bit like that too,
Mm.
because the speed of the whole kind of living and society overall comes into play here. I believe also when it comes to gaming or how you enjoy
Hmm.
games to a certain extent,
We are in a
especially
fast
also,
pace. Hmm.
yeah.
No, go on, especially
No,
also.
yeah, exactly as you said before, because there's also so much to choose from,
Yeah.
and if there's new releases every other week or so, then that gonna maybe pull you away from what you were doing at the moment, what you were playing.
And
So
also maybe what you're watching, and with that we'll segue
true.
into the watching
Yes.
segment of the show, which for me, I have very little to say. I have been watching Solar Opposites
Mm-hmm.
on Disney Plus. It's also on Hulu.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've continued this. This is a series I've mentioned on the podcast previously, like a while ago. So I'm don't I forgive you if you guys have forgotten what it's about, but essentially it's a family of aliens who move in the middle of America where they debate whether life is better there or on their home planet. So their home planet sort of like it's like a Superman story. The planet explodes,
Mm.
the people escape, you know, and they decide that they're gonna go to uninhabited planets. They have this little creature that carries all the DNA of their people, and they're supposed to like take care of it and get it to like maturity, and then it will basically I guess explode or something and
Oh, wow.
release their kind into the world or something. I don't know how. I can't remember the full details of how it worked out, but
Yeah, right.
essentially they get to Earth and then this the US and they start getting caught up in the culture there, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's hilarious. It's funny. There's a lot of in jokes. It's from the guys who did Rick and Morty. So if you like Rick and Morty, you're gonna
Yeah,
like this.
okay, okay. Oh, I've heard. Okay.
Yeah, so
Go
it's
on.
the same guy, same voice acting, everything. You know, it's very much hilarious and funny, and a lot of satire and hidden jokes in there and all that kind of stuff. So I've been enjoying this. I
Oh.
recently got back into it quite recently, and I have been watching it again, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I can say go check out Solar Opposites. It's an 8.2 on IMDb. I'll probably give it a 10. I think it's just perfect. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I think it's that good. I think it's just a perfect series. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's like
Wow.
Bob's Burger to me. You know, it's like some of those
Okay.
those comical series that you can just sit and just like lose a good few hours in and not even realize it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
It's
nice.
good. What about you, Rod? What have you been watching?
Yeah, I had a bit of a problem. I needed to pick something, right? Because I have been quite active watching quite some. It's true. It's been like, what should I choose? Usually, when we talk about a movie or a TV show or something like that, we also choose like something that is on a platform that might be available for everyone.
Hmm.
A tip for everyone out there, more or
Hmm.
less, or at least if you like, for example, a genre of, for me, like watching something like an action movie or a horror movie, something like that. But this time around, I'm getting a bit serious. I watched a documentary, and
Ooh.
ooh la 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 la, and it's not the ongoing stuff on Netflix like how the world was created and CGI and stuff like that. That's also something I'm watching, but it's really nice.
Mhm.
This though, it has to do with two things. First off, I found it interesting because my mom actually sent me an SMS. Have you been watching this series on national TV, like it's in the archive of one of the national TV channels. There are 2 national TV channels here in Sweden, one and two. And it's about a guy. His name is Felix, and he actually, that's also a kind of a weird thing. He's from the same city where I was born, up in the northern part of Sweden, which is called Skellefteå.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a bit. I have to check that out because it's a lot of from the city and everything, filming. This guy, he's in his like 25 years old, something like that. And also when I saw his parents being interviewed in this documentary, I know this, his mom, not well, but I went to school with her. Her name is Tina. Yeah. So I was a bit like, okay, look at that now, all these years later. But what is this about? The series is called, what is it called? Stalker, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, even though you guys can't see this, I wanted to talk about it because usually when we talk about being stalked, it's most of the time famous people, right, that get these weird people stalking them. Mm-hmm. But this can actually happen to, I would say, almost anyone. And it's kind of scary because this guy, Felix, this young guy, he gets harassed for years by this or through this anonymous like telephone number. It's like a cash phone card number, so it's hard to track. Otherwise you can do that better. And the sender claims to be like a gang or something that will not give up until Felix's life is destroyed.
Really?
Yeah. So because it starts really slow, like he gets a message every like 3rd day or something, because the background is this. He reaches out to a girl online. She looks nice. She seems to be cool, and they start to talk with each other. They meet in real life, I think 2 times, but they don't. And after that, some time after that, he starts to get these messages. And he doesn't know this, but she starts to get messages also. Oh. Someone saying you shouldn't meet this guy. He's bad for you, and weird stuff starts to happen. Felix at first doesn't really, he's like, okay, I don't care too much about this, but it goes on and it becomes more intense. And he's working in the military, and it goes really far where he starts to get worried that he's going to lose his job because they start to send messages not only to himself but also to the friends of him, like the closer circle around him, that Felix has said this, he's done that, and it starts to get really weird. He contacts this girl that he initially talked to, and because the phone number was hers. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I'm not doing this, and I got this and that, and what the heck is going on?
Wow.
And it gets to a point where it becomes, he almost, you start to get really stressed, and of course his parents try to support him. Mm-hmm. I am though into only, I think it's a miniseries, like 3 episodes, and I've only watched the first one. I'm gonna watch the second one maybe this evening or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Because my reaction was like, did you contact the police early on or no? Because I don't think he did. I think he waited quite some. Mm-hmm. If this would happen to me, I think I would have done that quite early on, to be honest, when you start to realize that something is really, really wrong here. Mm-hmm. And when they start to, how do you say, like sharpen the tone and be more threatful and things like that. And especially also, going out. Skellefteå is one of these smaller Swedish, like middle-sized or even smaller cities, you might say. And I grew up there. I know, like most people know each other or have at least seen each other, if that makes sense, So most of the time, if someone has a big like circle of friends, those friends talks to their friends, and all of a sudden the whole society knows what's going on. Stuff like that.
Kind of like Tobago, I guess. Everyone knows everyone in Tobago. I'm sure. Chris
yeah, sure. So it's kind of like that. So I find this both interesting and quite scary at the same time. And I just wanted to talk about it because, I mean, I think there's kind of most likely a lot of people that are having these kind of problems, but we're not really addressing it or talking about it, I guess, knowing about it. I haven't had any of my friends, if I have to think carefully now, have I? I don't think so. I know anyone that has had this kind of stalker problems. But yeah, I'm looking forward though to see how they solve this, because I guess if they made a series about it, most likely this has been solved.
Or maybe it's an
I
ongoing
guess.
series and they're still wondering and they're calling Felix every afternoon.
That
So
could be, but I
Felix,
do think,
how's it going?
if I remember this correctly, I think I've heard about this like for some reason a few years ago,
Mhm.
and I therefore think that it was, they managed to find out who was behind this, or who. Again, it's not only one; it's more than one that I know and that he knows already after the first episode. So, yeah, gosh. What
Hmm.
about you? Do you have any? You don't have any friend either that has been
I mean,
harassed like this, or?
I know people who've been harassed. I know people who've been stalked to an extent. I think I've had the other person who's, gotten a bit too vested interest in my life. But
Mm.
nothing at that level. It's more like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
simple, nothing really. Most of the time, like I think when I've been stalked, it's probably a girl who fancies me or something, and is all over every
Yeah.
every platform. I have. Like I've had people like I had this girl once. Like we started chatting, I think, on a dating website, and she went out of her way to find every single social media platform that I was on
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
add me on it. And I was
Mm.
like, I didn't even give you my name. Like, how did you find me?
Yeah,
you
just
know,
to start with. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was because of the fact, like, I think I had stopped talking to her on the dating app. Like you start talking to someone, you realize, okay, this is not going anywhere, and so you just stop talking to them. You're just like, okay, this is not going anywhere. And then she just found me and everything and started messaging me and
Wow.
all of them and
Wow,
adding me.
wow,
And
wow, wow, wow.
I think there's still a Facebook friend request from her sitting in my Facebook account somewhere,
Mm.
from years ago. But I'm sure she's not been messaged me in years, so she has definitely like moved on to stalk someone else. Um,
Oh my God. Yeah. I guess this is we talked about sign of times, or I did. I said that,
mhm.
used those words. And I guess now it's even, if we think back again, when I was a child, this was, of course, it was harder in a way. Then it was more physical. Someone,
In the bushes or
standing
something.
outside of your house, looking up to the window, things like that.
Hmm.
Now, social media platforms,
Hmm.
these dating sites and stuff, you don't know who you're connecting with,
You
right?
don't, you don't, and that's the intrigue of it all, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's a dangerous game.
It's a dangerous game indeed. But yeah,
Well, well.
it is true. There's a lot of things. I again, this is one of the weird things that I guess I forgot. But as you mention it, I had a really weird experience this week when we were speaking about technology, where literally, I was out of the house and
Mm-hmm.
I went to the shops to pick up some stuff, and
Yeah.
I I was I was listening to a podcast as I usually do,
Mm.
and I took the headphones out. So, no, sorry, I paused the podcast to do what I was talking to someone at the till, and then when I left the shop, I had forgotten to put the headphone, like hit play again, but music started playing. Random music that wasn't my music. It was someone else's music. It wasn't a song I'd ever heard before. It wasn't on my like. And when I looked at my phone, there was no app playing. So Spotify wasn't running, SoundCloud wasn't running, nothing was running.
Oh.
And then I got in, and Ty runs to the door as I come to the door, and he's like, "Daddy, stop messing with stop. Why do you keep doing that? Stop messing with me." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Ty?" And he was like, he's like, you keep pausing my show, like I'm pausing my documentary." And I was like, "I'm not pausing the documentary, Ty." And he's like, "Yes, you have." And I was like, "Ty, wait, calm down. Who are you talking to like that?" And he said, "But you
Mm.
have been pausing." I was like, "No, I haven't. I'm being serious. Like I haven't been pausing." I know sometimes I mess with him like that. Like I'll do things like that, but I was like, "No, I have. I'm actually being serious. I have not been pausing your thing." And then I spoke with Alex and I spoke with Xavier and found out that that was actually happening. Like someone was pausing and playing and skipping and moving his show. And then Xavi found someone, like music started playing in the kitchen at random. So at that point, I'm like, okay, maybe someone's hacked into our home system or something like that. And I basically started to shut down everything. So I shut down our network, shut down all the smart devices in the house, everything, and then proceeded to check our phones, see if anyone had logged into any of our accounts and all that kind of stuff. It turns out with regards to Alex's phone, she doesn't even have two-step verification. Or she didn't up until I actually installed it. So I had to change her passwords.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Set up two-step verification. So literally if anyone had ever found her password anywhere, then they could easily just log into her account because there was no verification to verify it was her. Now, I never truly figured out what was going on. I mean, we do have antivirus security in our house and stuff like that. But then it also turns out like a lot of the people in our family, excluding myself, don't update their devices with security updates. So their computers are not up to date, their phones are not up to date, and the devices are showing, "Hey, I want to update," and they just skip it to just go on to do whatever they want to do on the machine, which I just like. That's infuriating to me, to be honest. As a tech guy, seeing that and knowing that they're not you doing that, it's like, especially because I think the person who infuriates me the most about it is Xavi. And I would say the reason why is because like with Alex, she's older, she's busy all the time. I can understand if she's like not really thinking about it, you know. With Xavi, no, he's a kid, and I constantly keep reminding him, mate, update your stuff. This is how you update it. I show it to him, and he just doesn't do it, and it irritates me because I'm like, you have because he's the person most likely to go onto websites that are sketchy and pull up things because his computer is always infected with something or the other every now and then, and he'll come down, I can't do this on my computer, can you help me please? And it's because there's something infected and he has like all these different things in his browser and he can't close the tabs and all this sort of stuff because he's been playing some random game on some web browser that he wanted to play or some kind of crap like that.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I don't know what was the cause of that particular thing, but for the time being, none of our smart devices are connected. Our entire smart home has been shut down. So there are no smart speakers running in the house right now, no smart lights,
it's
no
spooky.
Nothing.
Halloween.
It is quite spooky Halloween. But yeah, we've got no technology running in the house smart at the moment outside of having Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And the only devices connected to our Wi-Fi at this particular point in time are my phones and my devices and Alex's. And outside of that, no one else's devices are connected at this point in time because I want to like observe the network for a period of time and see what's going on and hopefully, prevent an occurrence of that happening again. Now, at the end of the day, though, I'm not too worried about anything. Like the whole house was like, "Oh, I'm so worried," and I was just like, like, look, if someone were to hack our system, it's plausible. It could happen. It happens to everyone at some point or the other. The only thing we can consider is whatever we have on our network, how important is the information? Is it stuff that we are afraid that someone's gonna get their hands on in any way, shape, or form? And to me, I'm not, so I ain't worried. And I know the rest of my family don't really have anything to be worried about. They're just being scaredy poos. So that's essentially that. I will also like to add that the title of this episode is DIY Dreams. And the reason for that is because I've been doing a lot of DIY with fixing a lot of stuff in the house that needed fixing. And you guys will find out about it. I'll make some videos for some of them. Basically, I've been fixing some controllers. Some of my Xbox controllers needed fixing and I fixed them myself and I recorded some of it. I have fixed my laptop, which needed a bit of an upgrade, and I replaced the battery and the keyboard and a few other things like that.
Good.
And my headphones, the headphones I'm talking to you guys right now on the Astro A50s, which is easily my favorite ever headphones I've ever used, and I'm so happy to have them again. They're so comfortable. I fixed those as well. The batteries were pretty much dead. It was pretty easy to fix. Just take off the pads on the inside of I believe was the left cup, and unscrew 4 screws. And then unscrew a few screws on 4 more screws on the circuit board underneath it. Lift the circuit board slightly, unplug the little plug for the battery, and then plug in a new battery, and it was good to go. And I was so happy to be able to do that.
Good.
And yeah, I am.
Good job.
It's been good. It's been good. So hopefully I
Yeah.
will have some videos and stuff about that kind of stuff up on YouTube at some point that you guys can check out some of my DIY escapades. But that's the reason why the episode is called DIY Dreams, because I couldn't figure out what else I wanted to name it. I tried going for the Stalker route, but I couldn't find anything on that series when I googled it. And probably because of the fact it is a Swedish show.
Apparently,
So
exactly. Yeah.
I literally couldn't. The game Stalker kept coming up.
Exactly.
So so that's the reason why the title is that. Yeah, Raj. Anything else we want to add before we get out of here?
No, I think it is time to get out of here. The day has started and everything that comes with it. No, I think it's fine. It's good. It's an episode, I believe. And with that said, from my point of view, I would just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for being here live, but also if you're listening afterwards, we really appreciate you guys. So thanks a lot. And I hope you're going to have a good week, a good continuation of your week. Stay healthy. 1 apple a day keeps the doctor away. I don't believe that, but fruit is good for you anyhow. Have fun, enjoy gaming, and maybe some good Tele as well. And we hopefully meet up in a week. Yeah. So with that said, muffin and out.
Muffin and out. So with that, guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode of That Beautiful Life podcast. We, as always, enjoy having you guys here every week, sitting down with us, those who listen live. You can, of course, find us on all these platforms that we're on. I'll get to that in a sec. But either way, you can find Roger at 40 Splish Blast with the number 40 SPLSH. He streams on a Tuesday and on a Sunday, correct?
That is correct.
Right. Also, make sure to go over to his channel and check out that video on the finals. I did see the video pop up on my notifications. So I highly recommend go checking it out. If you want to see the game that we spoke about today, the finals, because it does look really good. So go over to is your channel name Splish right now, Zap? Roger?
Yeah, it's been Splish for a long time.
Right.
But I mean, you know how it is when you've changed a name, you can still search, and sometimes it's even better searching your full name for some reason. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's either Splish or 40 Splish Splash, then you're sure.
Then you're sure you're there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There are some other guys, yeah.
Because I always forget what it's named, but I'm so accustomed to because for me, I don't have to search for it because it's on my subscription, so it's just there.
Exactly, easy.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely you can go over and check that out if you want to check out the finals. As always, you can find me at lpgardens.eu. You can also find us at Simply Binge or at Simply Binge UK, pretty much everywhere else. And as always, we wouldn't like you guys to miss out on any of the episodes of That Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like to subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, simplybinge.com, YouTube, and elsewhere. And we're so confident they're gonna like it that we're giving them for free. So as always, guys, this has been cute for your pleasure, and it's a wrap. Rog, did you get a chance to watch that video I sent you? The game.
No, I just saw it now.
You need to click on it, Rog. It is so cool. It is the coolest.
I need to click on it.
Yeah,
Shit.
just
okay.
play it like quickly. You know, it is the coolest thing ever. Trust me.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
You know,
I'm doing it now.
Just play it for like a second. It's called Bluey.
So this is the Bluey you talked about.
Oh my god, game of the year. Game of the year. Just look at it. It's based on the Bluey TV series on Disney Plus
wait
and
a second.
BBC.
I'm watching it now.
Are you watching it right now? All right. And you're thinking amazing things about it, right?
Oh, it's very cute.
It's the best.